Hello, welcome to Working with Miniatures. I'm Jim, and tonight we're going to be painting Sheriff Sophie. We'll be using Army Painter speed paints and war paints. Let's get to it. Right after I fix this four-wheeler that hasn't started in probably 3 years. I imagine it has a dead battery. With an X-Acto knife, I cut into the blister and inspect the pieces of the miniature. The molding was pretty clean and the excess artifact casting was easily removed. I clean up the miniature with the same steps from my beginner's cleanup video located in the top right corner of your screen. After priming, I come back with Army Painter's matte white and add edge highlights and slight volumetric highlights all over, but mostly focusing on the upper areas. I paint the boots, belt, pouch, holster, vest, and hat all the same color, choosing Sand Golem. I'm starting to like this color more and more. All of the brown hued speed paints are great though, and sometimes it's hard to choose which one. A quick note here, paint carefully with the speed paints and be mindful of your brush placement. The cleaner you're painting here, the less you'll have to fix later. Here I mix Sand Golem and hardened leather at a 1:1 ratio and add shadows, focusing on the bottoms and recesses. Zenithal highlights and pre-highlights of white matte really start to stand out during this step. I add a 50-50 mix of hardened leather and dark wood to the pants, gloves, and hat bandolier. If I'd accidentally gotten Sand Golem on the pants, dark wood would cover it pretty well, but imagine if I had painted the boots grim black and then got some on the pants, and then I wanted to paint the pants in Zealot yellow. Could be fixed, but it would be extra work. To avoid that, take your time with the speed paints. With undiluted dark wood, I go around the pants, gloves, and hat bandolier, adding shadows in the recesses and under areas. The hair is done with pallid bone. I like this color over Zealot yellow as a base for blonde hair bleached by the sun. Between the clothing and hair and flesh, the colors that will primarily be used fall into the yellow to beige to brown family. Even a lot of the metallics blend in, being a coppery base, so for the scarf and sash I base coat it with blood red to break up some of the monotony. With slaughter red mixed evenly with blood red, I add shadows to the sash and scarf, particularly careful to mind the shirt as I plan on leaving it white. Again, the cleaner my work now, the less I have to redo later. For the rifle stock and pistol handle, I base coat with Gravelord Gray. I was going to use hardened leather mixed with maybe Crusader skin, but then I thought too many different brown paints were being used. Gravelord Gray has a good neutral feel. With Gravelord Gray mixed with Grim Black, I add highlights. Unfortunately, I forgot to hit the record button for this step. I've done this quite a few times in other videos, and it's because I'm currently recording with a busted iPhone 11. If Army Painter asked me how I felt about their speed paints, I'd tell them the only complaint I have is that there aren't any good human skin tones save for the darker brown hues, because again, their brown speed paints are just so good. I've been trying to get Crusader skin to work, and it came out pretty decent on the Native American chieftain I painted. Mixing pallid bone with maybe Crusader skin may work for a lighter Asiatic tone, but if you're aiming for Caucasian, then you're going to have to do this the hard way, layer by layer. After the first base coat of thin Dorado skin, I add shadows with soft skin wash. I don't slap this everywhere, just in the joints and shadowed areas of the flesh. I then come back with thin Dorado skin again, easing the transition from the original base work and wash. Mixing a shade, I began adding deeper shadows. These I had pretty much everywhere and had placed the wash, but I do not cover all over the washed areas. I'm painting less surface area, adding a darker tone where the light would reach less. I do the same as the previous step, but with a darker shade, and again, painting even less surface area, focusing the shadows where it would be the darkest. The first highlight you do not get to see because even though I did remember to hit record, I ran out of hard drive space. Recording with an iPhone is terrible as I've had to record maybe an hour's worth of footage, then wait 20 to 30 minutes to copy it off before I can wipe the drive and record again. With free space on the phone again, I add the second highlight, amber skin thinned with Vallejo medium. The final step I take for the flesh on this miniature is to thin garnet pigment toner and paint areas where the body would naturally be warmest, generally the inner arms and thighs, the neck, etc. Here we transition into metallics. I try to do metallic paints all together as I generally clean my water before going from metallics to non-metallics. I don't remember where I read or heard that, but it can't be a bad idea. Although a little azure magic mixed with some flesh tone, maybe a little around the eyes for makeup or for fairy skin, might look pretty good. I add a second lighter metallic tone as a highlight before edge highlighting with another brighter metal tone. The steps for the coppers are exactly the same, starting with a darker color, then adding 2 lighter highlight layers. I managed to keep this paint job pretty clean, and to help ensure it stays that way, before adding any additional highlights, I glue the arm on and take the miniature outside for varnishing. I did not paint nor attach the wings yet. I'll be saving the wings for the next video. With the miniature varnished and cured, I apply a pin wash of Mr. Weathering solvent mixed with multi-black. I throw this pretty much anywhere there's a crease or indentation, excluding the flesh. This last phase consists mostly of 1 or 2 highlights on everything except the flesh. I use greedy gold for all of the figures' copper metallics. The base having a larger surface area, I do a highlight of greedy gold mixed with weapon bronze first, followed by a highlight of greedy gold. All of the silver metallics catch another edge highlight of shining silver. With the metals out of the way, I hover the miniature over my bootleg sample palette and determine what colors I want to use as highlights elsewhere. Having a palette like this helps a lot if you use a lot of different paints from a line. The boots, belt, pouch, holster, vest, and hat catch a minor volumetric highlight of basilisk brown, followed by an edge highlight of basilisk brown mixed with troll claws. The scarf and sash catch a highlight of pure red, followed by an edge highlight of pure red mixed with Mars red. The pants, gloves, hat, bandolier get highlights with Monster Brown, followed by a mix of Monster Brown with Banshee Brown. I know I said I was finished with the metallics, but I come back with a small highlight of bright gold on the edges of the boot badges and the US on the buckle. For the hair, I do a highlight of skeleton bone, followed by a highlight of drake tooth, and lastly, a glaze of thinned down moon dust to give it a more blondish hue. For the eyes, I painted the socket black followed by a matte white for the sclera, leaving a border of black all around. I then dropped plasmatic bold speed paint to add a glow without painting a pupil. I finished the miniature with a light highlight of matte white on the shirt. This is the final result. I'm pretty happy with it. I decided ultimately not to put the wings on this miniature. I am going to paint them for another video, and I may consider putting the wings on a different figure altogether. That's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you learned something or were inspired to start or expand your own collection. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you like the content of this video and would like to see more, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Jim with Working with Miniatures. I'm truly grateful for your time, and I bid you a fond farewell. Until the next video. It's for the four-wheeler. Battery's dead. Needs a new one. Won't hold a charge. Or put the jump pack on it, fires right up.